want is stuff the strong. Only the innovative will survive. Nowadays, we know in the corporate world, it's only the innovative that will survive. We know that very, very large companies are falling. Once large companies like Kodak actually today was resurrected, but technology just took them out, for example. Let's talk a little bit about the dilemma we all face when we try and innovate, the innovator's dilemma. Ideas are very, very important, but they're also nothing unless you can implement them. Okay? And the same goes for nearly all the big problems we see in the world today. We actually, as a humanity, I think, don't struggle to come up with good ideas to solve them. I actually think the first dilemma for the innovator is actually implementing good ideas. This is the duty. It's not finished yet. Anyone know what it's going to cost people? 150 billion rands. It is, of course, a response to this energy crisis that we have. Is it the correct response? Certainly is the conventional response. You build another power station. So I'm just going to give you the one innovative solution. You might think I'm crazy. It's called daylight savings time. It's been estimated that if we adopted daylight savings time in South Africa, we could have a 3.4% power saving immediately. Less lights, less electricity, less heat, etc. Those are two Medupi type power stations. The point I'm trying to illustrate here is you get conventional responses to answers. And I have to admit, first I thought, we have an electricity crisis, let's build another power station. But you should really be thinking unconventionally and look at other ways of doing it. Okay, what happens, I said this is the innovator's dilemma, if you're in a corporate and on comes a new technology that can wipe you out completely. Let's say you're Kodak, and digital technology comes along. So this book written by Christiansen says that the typical corporate has an immune system, and this immune system, just like in our bodies, protects you against any foreign antibodies. And corporates work like that. So your marketing department will say, no, we're not going to try that type of digital strategy. Or your HR department says, no, we can't employ people who want to work from home or work on flexi time, or we really can't do something that's going to eat into our existing business, the cannibalization. So Christiansen's recommendation, and I think this is the mainstream recommendation for how you deal with disruptive technologies, is to start a completely separate business, separate brand, separate HR department, separate marketing and so on. I think that may work. What I'm going to try and tell you, and this is maybe the one thing that we at FNB have tried to do different, is the exact opposite. We said that's giving up. Why can't we bring new technologies into the business? So I'm not necessarily saying the one is wrong. I think the worst thing is to do nothing. You can at least start another business. But I think if you're really successful as a business and you want to have longevity, you will have an increased ability to take disruptive technologies inside and change your business. Let me just give you some observations from a corporate perspective. This is now an FNB perspective. The first thing is, I suppose you get companies that are led by remarkable individuals who have an incredible amount of vision, and they come up with all the ideas, and it's great, like Henry Ford or Steve Jobs. Again, I'm at the complete opposite side of the spectrum. I have to tell you that all the really, really cool ideas in FNB, and I'm going to tell you some stories, actually have nothing to do with it. Okay? And it comes from this basic insight that no one is smarter than everyone. Okay? There are some really, really smart people in this room. I know that. I know there are many, many people, most of you that are smarter than me. But I can tell all of you, including those smart people, that none of you are smarter than all of us put together. So somehow, if you could harness the wisdom of everyone, the crowd, you would come up with a better answer. It's difficult in practice, but you can really come up with better ideas. So the first insight in a corporate perspective is you can either have one person who comes up with all the ideas. That can be great, but remember when that person leaves, then what happens then? Or you can try and have a corporate culture where you try and harness the wisdom of everyone. Recognizing that no one is smarter than everyone and that ideas can come from everywhere. So that's the first observation. The second one is that innovation is unlikely to happen in an autocratic culture. Okay, if you tell somebody, what I want you is I want you to pick up the sand and take it there and then come back. Okay, you're not leaving a lot of room for improvement. You don't have a culture where the people at the top actually recognize how little they know. You're not going to empower other people to come up with really good ideas. It's all about giving power away. Next one, and this is really tough for banks, but it's tough for all corporates, it's tough for people, is you cannot be creative without taking risks. And I hope you get the spelling error, making mistakes. This is the big thing in corporates. Okay? You've got to allow people to make mistakes. And then the oldest, we can call it a trick, but it's not really a trick, is the fact that all of us are hugely in need of affirmation. If you read Greenspan's book, we're social animals, is one of our most important driving forces isn't money, it's peer recognition. So if you want anything out of anyone in any business, tell them they've done a good job in front of their peers. Somebody just suggested, if we're going to launch an innovations campaign, why don't we give the innovator R1 million? I have to tell you, I don't even think I had the mandate to make that type of decision with them. Anyway, we made it, and since then we've been making millionaires every year. Now we make multiple millionaires, because the ideas that they come up with are sometimes R100 million present value type of ideas. So the recognition and the reward, and the fact that people can see that innovators are rewarded in the company, can completely change the chemistry of the mind of those individuals. Not a new insight, but something that we often fail to do in life, is help people think they did a good job. When are people more creative? They're more creative when they have a stimulus, a problem, and they're creative when there's something like coffee or tea around. And the other one is wine and fun. I really think people are more creative in an environment where they don't have to take themselves so seriously. People must be able to come up with an idea and sometimes come up with such good ideas. This is the big thing. You know, the serious, important people hold themselves back. They only want to say something so that everybody feels quiet for a moment and go, gee, that's a great idea. The story that I've become a is just a very connect story. But I'll take one at court case against the then Minister of Telecommunications. And they opened up a gap where you wanted to apply for a telco license. And somebody in the FET, I really don't know who applied for a telco license, and we landed up with a telco license. And then somebody else came up with that and said, how can we use this telco license? And the idea was, now with a telco, we can go negotiate with other telcos as a peer. And it turned out to be true, and we got a 20 or 30 million rand peer discount, because now we're a telco. So that was already an idea that was well worth the while. And somebody else said, hey, but we're a telco, and we actually have a network. We connect all our 700 branches across the country. We have cables and fibers and satellite and so on. We actually are a telco. Yes, but remember, we need that telco capacity for ourselves. 8 hours a day, because that's when the branches are. We actually have latent network capacity for the remaining 16 hours a day. So why don't we just give it away to our customers? And that's how the idea started. We went to all our customers and you can have, I don't know how many megs or whatever. We said you can have it for free, because most of our customers don't use it at work, they use it after hours. So that was very popular, particularly amongst the techies and so on. But we found that the mass adoption wasn't there. And somebody in the unit said, I know, I'll write an app for this. At the moment, apps hadn't really become that popular. Somebody wrote the app, and on this app, it allowed you to get a cell phone for free. Okay, so this thing then, again, techies loved it, the quick adopters loved it, and so on. But it just didn't get widespread adoption. So even after somebody else came along and said, I know how we can make this attractive for our customers. Let's put in a bit of banking functionality. And this is how we launched an app. So I'm just trying to tell you the story of like this whole sequence of events of how innovation happened with a whole lot of different people, without anybody saying this is what we must do. We must have a digital strategy, converge with telecoms and write apps and so on. It didn't happen like that. They were just people who actually took initiative. And then, the story continues. Then one guy came to me and said, you know what, one of the reasons why not enough people are using our app is they can't afford tablets. Why don't we go to Apple and we do a deal with them, and we buy also a lot of these tablets, and we don't try and make a profit out of it, and we just give it to our customers, because it's our customers and they'll use our tablet. So this is take risk, make mistake. I had to sign off with invoices. I think it was 120 million. This was our first order, because we had to buy a big amount. Now, I could have ended up with a big stock of iPads. And signed it off and so on. And for that first week, and I'm using an 8-hour day, so it's a bit of cheating, but it's every 30 seconds we deliver it out. We're still the largest seller of iPads, as well as a huge amount of other tablets in South Africa, with a whole lot of other issues that come from that. So isn't it just amazing now that one guy, because of the court case and so on, got us a license, and now we've become the largest retailer of iPads in South Africa. I've got many stories. Let me just tell a few more. The one is feedbacks. Talk about fuel and end-time rewards. Again, we take it for granted. Our customers can now get up to 15% back in fuel, of the fuel that they spend. And then, of course, when it worked and it really took off, Then we figured out that for a certain part of our market, the mass market or the mainstream market, we don't have cars, they wanted something else. So then we said we'll do it for airtime as well. So now people can get 15% back on airtime and 15% back on fuel. You can actually get both. The PayPal story is just interesting again. Now we just take it for granted. We've got this deal with PayPal. And the guy came to see me with a long presentation. PayPal, we need to do something with PayPal now. I remember I think we got to slide 2 or 3 and I said, Chris, what do you want? I need to go through this. He said, no, I want us to use deal with PayPal. I said, fine, what do you need? He said, I need a ticket to go to San Fran and I want to fly the whole day. I said, well, they're never ever going to do it, but fly to San Fran, take risks. Okay. He went to San Fran and no one wanted to see him. He just sat in his hotel room and couldn't get anyone to meet with him. So he, in a dejected manner, looked in Google and he found the listing document, the IPO prospectus, and he found the number of one of the senior vice presidents responsible for expansion. And he phoned in and he said, listen, I'm here from South Africa, I came to see you, can you see me? And the guy grudgingly let him in. And he said, please, we're this bank from Africa, we want to do a deal with PayPal so that we can be part of the global e-commerce community. He said, listen, it's not our priority, and even if Africa were, it would be Egypt, because Egypt is far more advanced in terms of internet technology and so on in South Africa. And it was the year where we had the World Cup and we were sponsoring it, and we gave him a Makarapa and a Zela, and eventually we did the deal, and it really was quite amazing. So that was just an example that I wanted to tell you about the expense. I had no idea this guy would ever make it. I just thought, you know, let's do this plane ticket, and it's been really successful. The mini ATM is an interesting idea. What happened here is, if you do a business case for an ATM, you need to have a certain amount of transactions, otherwise it doesn't make sense to put that big box there. Also, you have to service it, so you know, if it's empty, people tend to get quite irate and so on, so it always has to be cash in it and so on. So somebody came up with this idea. It's a small little device, we make it look bigger with all the plastic, you can understand, in any remote little village. And the way it really works is it's in a shop, and you swipe your card, put in your thing just like you would with a normal ATM, and let's say you draw 200 bucks. That 200 rand is then transferred to the shopkeeper's account, and they give you 200 rand out of their till. We had 1,400 of these devices across the country. It fostered entrepreneurship in local areas, so that people didn't have to go to the big town to pay taxi fares and so on to go buy their stuff there. So it's a really great innovation. What's also technically cool about it is, then they found there wasn't electricity there, so they made it work on car batteries. Then they found there was a telecom line, so they made it work on SMS or GPRS type of technology. This was at the height of the recession, where everyone was cutting costs, and a youngster, actually the guys I've taken over from me, came up with this idea and he presented it to Exco. And I have to tell you, I just got the cost cutting in my mind. Like, where can we cut costs? And he said, listen, this is something that customers really want, because the current lounges suck. You know, they are full and they don't have proper food and so on. So we came up with this concept. And we invested in the recession. It cost about 20 million a year. And anyway, it's been such a brilliant success. And I often look at the branding strategies of big corporates, where they brand an event and they spend these hundreds of millions. Where we found something which gives something that directly only to our customers. You know, they obviously must do a certain amount of business with us, but then you give, instead of a huge amount of sponsorship, back to it. This is now growing. We have slow at the airports, we have a slow in the city here, where the Gautrain ends, where business people who come from Durban don't have to do business in coffee shops anymore, they can do it there. And now we're starting to put slow lounges and we call them F&B lounges in all the rest of Africa where we operate. So it's funny, it's a non-banking thing, but it is a huge benefit to the corporates and CEOs and the people who bank with us. And I think the innovation there is just taking the risk in the middle of the recession or something.